Splurgent America coming at you, boom, from the comic cave. I looked at doing maybe a year in review, best of, whatever. I'm not pulling all my comics out of boxes and that. I got a lot going on. I got a couple minutes to speak, and I felt that's what's important. It's just kind of chatting about the comics that we're reading, what's making us happy, what's important to us. Sleepy Reader always does that wonderful list of, top 15, 17, 20 comics he gets, and he reads and he explains it's about how he feels at that time, that moment. That's how he's judging them. And I think that's what's important. How are we feeling about our books? What are we enjoying? What's just giving us that good feeling? So for me right now, Die. Die is probably my best book right now. D-I-E, as in dice, as in D&D. The storyline is a bunch of friends on a birthday party playing a game of D&D. They get sucked into the world like that wonderful cartoon Dungeons and Dragons. They live out a lifetime there. They figure out they can't leave until they've solved it. For them, it's a lifetime. Back in the real world, it's like days, maybe weeks. I don't recall exactly how long it's been. It's one of these long books that takes big breaks and that, so that it probably is best in in trade. But I just love reading it from issue to issue, staying in it. I couldn't tell you who the people working on it are. I didn't pull that information. I did on some books, not others, but it's the story. So, they're going back into the world because they get a letter saying that they need to. They get in there and they find out there's major repercussions for what they did while they were there. Of course, their life has major repercussions in the real world because of when they get back. Life is tough for everybody, especially in this wonderful story. So, Die, I think it was issues 2 through 10 this year. Just really enjoyed that book. So, along the same lines, The Realm, I think I'm on issue 15 of that. Once again, another great one. I think it's on 3 trades now. Just been amazing, just totally enjoyable. So I would say definitely look for it, read it, enjoy it. I'm trying to block my vent real quick in case that made some noise. It's basically post-apocalyptic storyline, so it's about the people, how they deal with it. I know Walking Dead just ended. I know a lot of people are enjoying Oblivion Song. I'm not doing any of those, so The Realm was my book. And I really enjoy the idea. It's not just, people and zombies. It's post-apocalyptic. The world is kind of in chaos, and there's magic. So you have sorcerers and dragons and goblins and orcs and guns and vehicles, and it's enjoyable for that reason. So The Realm. I hope you guys enjoy that if you read it. Right now, of course, also on issue 18 or more right now, Gideon Falls. Of course, that's Sorrentino art and Lemire writing. Started out as a horror book, gets into the sci-fi genre, and then kind of bounces around. They're already going to be making a TV show on it, so maybe TV is your format. I would say look for Gideon Falls. Otherwise, the horror sci-fi aspect of it is just enjoyable. Of course, Sorrentino art is what really pulled me into it. That's why I pulled the trigger on that one. After a huge long break, I couldn't believe it. Manifest Destiny started up again. We're on issue 37. I mean, this is what started my pull list. I always talk about this. So I mean, years back now. It's only 37, but I mean, that shows you how big some of the breaks are. They were consistently working on it. They say they're back to being consistent with their big, regular couple months off break to get caught up every so often. Image, really enjoyed it. It's Lewis and Clark, the Manifest Destiny, going across the United States, exploring, cataloging. They're with the prisoners, with Sacagawea. And now we find out that there's monsters and demons, so it's the Wild West, Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of storyline. Like I said, I enjoy it, and of course, because especially right now, they're in South Dakota, my location, so I'm enjoying it for that reason. I've been waiting however many years, and they're finally here. Um, Along those lines, Farmhand with Rob Gilroy. That's just an enjoyable. I mean, it just seems so much like Chew. That's what makes it so enjoyable. Farmer has plants that grow body parts, and now we're finding out that there's something wrong. People are sprouting, you know, green veins and leaves and wood all over their body, and so it's getting tied up into the full storyline. It's funny along those lines, but it's also kind of you know, serious. The artwork, if you love Chew, you're gonna of course love this one. It just so much feels like Chew that I mean, that was the reason why I decided to pull the trigger on it. I do have to say that Alpha Flight True North was a one-shot. I think it believed it had 3 or 4 stories in it. If you're an Alpha Flight fan, I think you'll enjoy it. I haven't read a lot of Alpha Flight. I want to enjoy it. I just recently read a run of Alpha Flight, scratch it, reverse it, Omega Flight, from the Initiative days when right after Civil War everybody has to register. So I'll talk more about that some other time. But this was nice. This was touching back on the characters. I think hopefully testing to see the market on who's interested in Alpha Flight. I hope it's out there. It was enjoyable. On the same note, DVD-wise, movie-wise, Into the Spider-Verse this year, of course, was the movie of all movies. I probably enjoyed it more than Endgame, just because it was so amazing. When you talk about artwork, you know, pulling it from the comic book onto the screen, music, snappy artwork, great lines, it's just solid story. And I mean, it was, you know, probably the best animated movie ever, in my opinion. So, mini and maxi series wise, Road of Bones. This one I actually wrote the names down, but of course it's Donik, Comac, and Birch. It's a 4-part series about a Russian prison camp. I believe World War I, it possibly could be World War II, where 3 prisoners escape out. One of the prisoners is giving food to a spirit, kind of like a Baba Yaga. It's Russian, so it's, I believe, something slightly different than that. But it is a house spirit that's supposed to help protect them, keep bad people away. But as they leave, the spirit goes with them. So as they're on their trip, they're limited on food, but one of the prisoners, of course, is still giving food to the creature. And it's you know, these 3 guys. One of them is a professional criminal in a Russian mafia, and the other 2 are just, you know, people who have stole food or spoke out against the government. So there's a little political play into it, but it's really about the mythical part of it, you know, the creature. Touching just very lightly on the storyline, but it's about 3 criminals trying to get away through the Siberian winter, through the Siberian mountains, and I enjoyed it. It was definitely something I was not expecting. Once again, it's called Road of Bones. It is a 4-part series, so it's easy to pick up, read, and enjoy. Big surprise for me right now, Harleen Sedgwick's great artist, now evidently a wonderful writer. This is the story of Harley Quinn, once again exploring the criminals of Arkham, trying to figure out reform. Can we really reform? Can we find the reason why there's a trigger? It's in the black, black label format of oversized, higher grade material. I mean, that's the reason why I left Marvel, is because of books that disintegrate in your hands. So it's basically a magazine style, so now I gotta buy a magazine box. I started buying magazine slips for that, so if you hear some complaints, I do have my cats outside the door and they were hoping to hang out. But basically it is the art. Sedgwick's art, of course, is Stefan Sedgwick, I believe from Norway, possibly in the area. He's Eastern European, I believe, if not. Wonderful, once again, artist. I buy anything of his art. Writer, it seems very enjoyable. So something that surprised me, which it shouldn't. Joker, the killer smile. Once again, Black Label. This is Lemire and Sorrentino. I just told you that I love their stuff. Lemire, of course, I'm back and forth on his writing. Sorrentino, I love the artwork. When I saw this stuff, and I'm already picking up Harley, and I'm like, really? Another Joker book? I know there's another Joker book coming out. And I just like, I wasn't sold on the format originally, but once again, that square, larger than comic book size, like magazine style. And it was surprisingly good. Some of it is about this cartoon character, and it's done in this happy slappy style. But it's a psychological thriller about once again, just another psychiatrist that's trying to figure out Joker, and something is bleeding out into this guy's life, and it's really screwing everything up. At one point, he goes down to check on a noise, and his wife comes down, and he's like, just go back to bed. She's like, go back to bed. And, it's 6 in the morning. You've been gone for hours, and he doesn't know what's happening. So I can't wait to see what this is going to be. I mean, it's pretty wild. It looks very enjoyable. Storyline does seem to have me hooked, even though it's another Joker story. So there. Dial H for Hero. Humphreys and Quinos. It's a mini. It was originally supposed to be 6 issues, and they built it up to 12. Wow. I mean, that was kind of a surprise. This one I enjoyed because in a comic book, as the Dial H gets his power, depending on what the power is, they kind of twist the art style. As far as I know, it's all Quinones art. And it looks like, if it's supposed to be happy slappy, it's the artwork, fits with it. If it's noir, you get that dark black and white look. Each one, it just seems to mimic a new style, and it's, as far as I know, still the same artist. Just really enjoyable. The Humphrey story I enjoyed. It originally started as this a young guy's story, a letter to Superman, and in it he references his parents, and that was a mystery for me, is what happened to his parents, or what are we going to find out? Because he's living with his uncle and trying to figure out what's going on. Was his parents criminals, and that's why they're gone? Did they die? If that's why he's asking Superman, what's going on? They've gotten past that part of it into more about the story of the Dial, the H, the new power, so it's slightly different than the one I read in the 52, which is originally where I got hooked. So, I mean, I really enjoyed that style. This one, I've showed it on my Twitter many a time. I just love, love, love that change of art in each book. So, as you probably gathered, I love my artwork. Lastly, Tommy Gun Wizards, written by Christian Ward, I believe, and Keyville is the artist. The art is fine. The storyline's what got me. It's Al Capone and the Untouchables, battling against each other. Elliot Ness and his crew of FBI agents fighting Capone in New York. And instead of it being about alcohol, it's about magic. So you can get a little lick, which I guess is a whiskey term, of magic, and then who knows what it'll do for you. Maybe you can fly, maybe you can spit fire, maybe you get the sight, maybe you just become a wizard. But it's amazing. You find out how Al Capone is harvesting and selling the magic. You find out that Elliot is more than just what he was in the thing. Of course, Tommy Guns is just amazing, but I believe there is a bar or something called Tommy Gun Wizards. So he had to change the name of it. So the last issue I had, they just put a block over it because I think it was going to be Machine Gun Wizards. And they didn't put that part on there because maybe they found out there's some other issue. So it just said Wizards. And I hope people read it, enjoy it. I believe it was 5, 6 issues. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's done. Maybe they'll start it up again. It was enjoyable. It was a fun read. As you can see, I don't have a lot of books, so once again, good book. I was picking up Event Leviathan because of the Maldive art. Bendis, I usually can enjoy his storylines. It just wasn't working for me this time, so I stopped. What is it? I think it's 6 issues. I think I stopped at 3. So I stopped halfway, maybe I got 4. Just didn't care. And then from what I heard from the end result, it just was not exciting. So I don't know. Last thing, I'm reading or getting ready to read Freedom Fighters. I read the first 3 issues. I was able on Black Friday, and in my store I had a sale the week after that where all comics from $3 to $9 were just $1. And I said, you can't pass that up. So I picked up as many Freedom Fighters as I could. That one I believe is a 12-issue maxi, and I originally was enjoying the storyline. I missed out on a couple of comics or a couple issues, so I ended up waiting. At that point, as other people are reading and it's going on, I just decided to wait for the sale, and so now I'm going to pick them up. That's my Christmas break, New Year's read, so that's the next thing I'm looking at doing. Just kind of looking back over my notes, I think I covered pretty much everything I was going to. Oh, Scribble Knots from DC. There's little figures. And this one is a DC Universe. It look like mainly villains, because I mean I got Ultraman, and I got, who is the other good one? Anyway, if you see my Twitter, you've seen them. I get them for $3 right now, and so for $3 you really can't do wrong. I'm enjoying it. So Scribble Knots is my new thing to keep purchasing. One was like an off Green Lantern. His leg kept popping off, and he didn't look very good, so boop, chucked him. Oh, I do got a gold Wonder Woman, or maybe it's whatever Ultraman's woman is. Power Woman? Anyway. So those are the ones I'm enjoying. Things I'm reading, things I'm liking. Otherwise, still do Hoopla, so I've been reading back on old issues and that. Basically, yeah, picking up some DC stuff on Hoopla that I just didn't care to pay full price for, so, you know, my library will cover it, and I'll be happy to do that. So taxes are paying for it. Otherwise, that's it. You know, not really buying too much, I guess, over here. You can kind of see that I got my Paybacks poster up with Elliot Rawls' signature. Here, I'll just grab this real quick. Also got, of course, Comic Book Genie. Mikey did the headshots. Down below is the Thundar the Barbarian and Ukla the Monk. It was enjoyable. It's supposed to be kids pretending that's who they are. The Dakota Kid, who is an artist from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's also where I get these from. I love purchasing. A couple of these I got in a blind bag purchase. Otherwise, of course, some wonderful X-Men, Civil War, Punisher, Daredevil, and Spidey and his amazing friends. Also, there was a fundraiser for up here. Doug Mankey did the artwork. Wonder Woman. This was to support recovery for people who have been abusing opioids. Also behind me is the wooden boards from store. Of course, my Rainbow Comics collectibles. Local artist did that one. That was Jason Folks. Once again, Mikey Martinez. The Ghost were bowling for my daughter. So you stack them up like pins, and then you roll a pumpkin at them for Halloween. And of course, lastly, I'm sure you guys enjoy the amazing movie Fantastic Four. Maybe not the best movie, but I like the poster, and that's all I got to live with, right? Otherwise, I got burnt wood artwork right there. the metal tin. Okay, here we go. Mikey Martinez, of course, wonderful art there. Comic book genie did the thing for me. And, you know, ones from the store. Those wonderful tin letters that cost you so much at Michael's. And also over here, a couple more metal tins. And then neighbor was doing these for me until he moved away. So definitely enjoyed all those. That's it. That's Comic Cave. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm enjoying. That's what I'm thinking. So hope to hear from you. Hope to hear what you're doing, reading, enjoying. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. And any others that I've missed that you celebrate. I definitely would like to tell you to shout out and tell me what you're drinking. So, Sergeant America, catchphrase.